Hi everyone, Stephen Van Tassel here, wildlife control consultant, bringing you another episode of Living the Wildlife as part of the Pest Geek podcast family. Well, thanks for joining me again today, and so this is another edition, and we're glad you're here, and we hope that you'll take the time to subscribe and talk to us on Facebook at the Pest Geek podcast, and join the revolution, join the movement, and participate and continue learning your skills. And so, hey, we'd love to hear from you. So send me an email at wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. Tell me what you think of the show, or put something into the comments. Talk to me on Facebook. What are some issues you'd like to have and talk about? So I'd be happy to do some research in that particular area. And so basically contribute would be very, very helpful. So today I wanted to talk about downtime. Yeah, I know. No one loves downtime per se, especially when it comes in a situation where you don't expect it. But the fact is we have to prepare for those periods in our life, those incidents, those issues when we can't go out and pound the pavement and make some money. And if you're not planning for downtime, what you're going to do, you're going to waste the opportunity. One of the things I learned when I was at the university is academics have a real difficult time understanding time. Yeah, I know it's hard to imagine. So this is what would happen: is you'd ask somebody and you would say, "Can you help me with this particular project, or work with me on this particular project?" And they would say, "Yeah. Reach out to me again in 2 weeks when my schedule loosens up." So I would. You see, the dummy that I was, I actually believed that they were telling me the truth. So they weren't telling me the truth. It's not that they were trying to lie to me. That's not what I'm saying. Although some of them might have been. The reality is that they believe the frog in the pot myth, that somehow they can get through. Once they get through this crunch period, they will have time to move their energy into something else. And what I've discovered is that there never was time, because something else always came up. I was working with one individual, and just repeatedly a project that this individual said they wanted to work on was always being put off. I mean, this was going on for years. I'm not talking about, fast Stephen, he's always has to be, his priorities always have to be somebody else's priorities. No. I was waiting for years for this project to start. And it was always, I've got to get rid of these brush fires and this, that, and the other thing. And I finally said to him, again, years I was waiting. Let me make sure that's years, not weeks, not days, not months, years I was waiting. And I finally asked him, I said, when do I become a brush fire that has to be put out? And the individual looked at me and said, "You can't." So what you have to figure out what that means is we only do what's important to us, or if we have some sort of force being applied to us. Either you decide what your schedule is, or someone else is deciding what your schedule is. Those are your only two choices. And so you have to, as a business owner, or you as a technician who are trying to move up into the company or really improve your skills, you have to plan what you're going to do when you get into downtime. Now, what happens is people say, well, when my time will loosen up in around Christmas time, the calls will drop off. And it very well may be true. The problem is that people will then say, I finally have a break, and then they basically go on a little unintended vacation. And then January 3rd comes around, and they were like, there were so many other things I should have done during the break, but no, now the phone's ringing off the wall. hey, it's your money, it's your time, because time is the only thing we can't create more of. Time is the only thing we can't recapture. Every moment, I'm looking at a clock right now as it's ticking through as I'm doing this podcast. I can't get that second back. It's gone. And that's sometimes we miss that when we're in the service industry, particularly, especially, you may be in that busy period, you're doing 60, 70 hours a week during the busy season. Maybe some of you are up to 80 or more. You want to be careful about that. But you're just out straight. And when that phone finally stops ringing, you just crash. And there's nothing wrong with taking some time off. That's not the problem. The issue is you didn't plan that time off. The time off planned you. So I'm telling you, what about those situations where you're taking time off because something happened that forced you to take time off? How about you fell off the ladder and broke your ankle? You got into a car accident. It doesn't have to be your fault. What are you going to do? You're going to get the vehicle's oil changed. What are you doing with your time? How are you making the most of your time during those down periods? What happens if there's a freak weather storm and the trees have blown over and now the routes to where you're supposed to be are all blocked? What are you going to do? Or perhaps you had a fire in your house, or perhaps a spouse or a child is ill and you have to take care of them. What are you going to do? Have you planned for those opportunities? Yeah, it's an opportunity to make the most of those downtimes. Have you planned it? So I hope I'm making this clear, because a lot of people, frankly, waste an inordinate amount of time, and it's hurting their business, it's hurting their well-being, and it's hurting their personal growth. Don't be that person. So what are some things that you can do to take advantage of downtime? What are some things you want to do? And so I'm going to suggest the following. I'm a big fan of Evernote. Now, Evernote, I don't get any money on it. They're not a sponsor of the show, okay? So I happen to use Evernote. Evernote is a note-taking program. It has a free app with it. You can get a fair amount of storage with it, and it will sync across 2 different devices. If you pay they have 3 levels, the free version, the intermediate level, and I think the pro version. I'm in the intermediate level. And I think with the intermediate level, you can be on 3 computers, maybe, it might be 2. I basically just use it on my phone, is what I use it for. But you can sync between your computer and your phone. And it's a note-taking app where it allows you to search, where you can insert photos, you can create albums, you can do hyperlinks, you can capture stuff off the web. And so it's basically where you can brain dump in a document and then be able to search for that document. I mean, I've got scores of documents. So one of the things I do is I keep a calendar, what I call a Montana wildlife calendar. And so when I'm out and about and I see a robin's nest and I see that there's young in that robin's nest, I'll write that down in my Evernote, and I'll say, okay, it'll be, July 8th, robin built nest and has 3 young, 2020. That way I can start developing a calendar for my area. I hope you do the same. I think I even did a podcast on making your own calendar. But this app will allow you could have a page in this app where you say downtime. What are you going to do? And so you can put in projects in that downtime that you're going to prioritize to do for your business. It may be something as simple as, I'm going to clean the truck. I'm going to reorganize my brochures. I'm going to repair equipment. I'm going to market. I'm going to work on the website. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to follow up with my major clients and write them thank you notes. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to make sure that my vehicle is up to snuff. Whatever the case may be, you have to decide what that's going to be. And you're wanting to think about those types of short-term things that you can do, or those long-term things that you can do. That is what you'd want. That's what you want to write down. And so if you're ill let's say your leg is broken and you're going to be held up for a while, what are you going to do with your time? Do you have a plan? I was listening to a productivity expert, and he says if you don't have a plan when you get down in front of your computer, you're actually wasting a lot of time just putzing around on the computer. You might find yourself on Facebook looking at some cat video. You want to be sure you're taking advantage of that. So you can write down short-term tasks, things that are 15, 20 minutes long. You can do things that are going to be maybe an hour plus long, and then maybe things that take several hours or more, and categorize them and just write down the list. That way, when you have downtime, you don't have to be thinking, oh, what should I do? You can pull up your phone, pull open your app, and you can use a notepad. And if you have an iPhone, there's a notepad there. If you have a Droid, I'm sure they have Droid note-taking apps as well. It doesn't have to be Evernote. The point is that be purposeful about what you're going to do with your downtime, and that you're planning for it. Even when when we're looking at standing in line, you could be writing down ideas and notes. I need to contact this individual. I need to contact this individual. What you want to do is to be productive enough during your workday so that when you go home, you can turn it off. Now, I know that's hard as a self-employed individual. It's very hard because the job never leaves you. But you want to get to a place in your business where you will make sure you can be there for your family and significant other. Where you're not always thinking, where it's not just wildlife control day and night. Find that place. And so by brain dumping into that little cell phone, here we go, you want to be sure that you have that list. So let's talk about some categories of things that you want to be thinking about. So how about, let's do some brainstorming in terms of downtime. Equipment. You can inventory all of your equipment. You can clean and repair your equipment. You can reorganize your equipment. You can clean up your shop. You can make sure that everything's in working order. You can make sure that you have enough supplies for the coming season. Are you looking for bargains? You could be calling your suppliers and seeing if you can get better prices. You can make sure that you have enough equipment for the coming year and that there's things that you need to throw out. Just basically ask yourself, do I know what I have in my possession for my equipment? We are a very equipment intensive business. Is everything in its place? Do you know are you running low on anything that you should be placing an order on? Equipment. How about your business skills? What are you doing to sharpen the saw? Now that's something from the Covey organization, and there's an old tale, I think it was with Abraham Lincoln. I think he was asked, what would you do if you had 8 hours to chop a tree down? And I think the story goes, I would spend 7 of those hours sharpening the axe. Now, for those of us in this business, we're often so task-oriented, we're going to be, no, I don't have time to sharpen my axe, I got to cut this tree down. What are you needing to do to take your business to the next level? What is it? What do you have to do? What skill are you missing in your business to take it to the next level? Now, maybe you don't want to take it to the next level. Maybe you're happy with whatever income you're doing. The problem with that is that you may be overtaken by competition, so that because someone could come into your area or someone could start a business and you're just sort of happy doing what you're doing right now, and then all of a sudden a game-changing company comes in and totally revolutionizes the way the business is done. Now, is that hard to do in wildlife control? Yes, it is. It is hard. Is it impossible? No. And the problem is, when we're talking about this, is that you often don't see the creative destruction coming until it's too late. So if you're not thinking about how you can improve your business, and you may not want to grow it, you don't have to grow it, but if you can make your business more efficient, you can then make more money per hour without working more hours, because you can do more in less time, or do the same amount of work in less time and do something else. Play golf if you like golf. So what are you doing to sharpen your sword? Are you taking a training? A lot of, with this COVID crisis that we're in, oh my gosh, I can't wait till this is all over, until the panic porn is over. But the reality is that we have a lot of training now that you would have had to get a hotel and drive or fly and go to that training. You now can do it online from the comfort of your own home. What training do you need to take to expand your business, or to provide you an opportunity to expand your business, even if you don't want to do it now? That's important. What business books should you be reading to help your business? Is it marketing? Is it a sort of accounting? Is it how to work on social media? Do you need to work on your advertising? Maybe you need to revise your company brochure. Maybe you need to start a blog. Maybe you need to have a vlog. Maybe you need to be finding out if you're going to the local home show and having a booth. What are you going to do with your downtime in terms of helping to improve your business? So we have equipment, helping your business. Let's go to a third area. How about what do you need to do to build better relationships with people in your own family? I wrote an article, 15 years ago maybe, where it basically was love your business, love your spouse. The fact of the matter is, in most states, if you get divorced, you've lost half of your money. And with no-fault divorce, you can't even stop it if your spouse wants to get rid of you. You didn't do anything wrong. You're like, came out of the blue. All of a sudden, I'm not happy with you anymore. And half of your income's gone. Half of your stuff is gone. What are you doing to make sure that your marriage remains strong? That's something you can do in your downtime. Women like spontaneity. You're going to go out to dinner. You're going to take a weekend trip. You're going to go send her flowers. Pick her up at the office or whatever. Take her out for lunch. Bring her a coffee. It doesn't take much, folks. There's an old saying that says, treat your spouse like you're still dating and you will stay married. Now, it's obviously a little idealistic because dating is different than marriage. But you get the point. That's something you can think about, what you can do during your downtime. How about your kids? If you have any, what are you doing with your kids? They really like spontaneity, especially if you took them out of school and took them hunting, or take them out trapping, or take them to some sort of park that they like. There are those types of spontaneous moments that will give you memories that you will never regret. Equipment, business, relationships. All right, let's go a little bit further. How about your bookkeeping? Taxes. Yes, I know. Are you sure that all of your invoices are out to people that owe you money? Accounts receivable is a big problem in our business, and hopefully a lot of guys are starting to make some changes with how they collect their fees. So it's important for how they're going to do that, how they're going to collect their fees. And so, but for some of you, you still have some of those commercial accounts, and it's hurry up and get here, and then then they can't find your address when it comes to sending the check. You're going to have to do some follow-up with those folks. Have you looked at, when was the last time you looked at your retirement investments? Do you need to reallocate or rebalance your portfolio? Do you need to be talking with your broker or your financial advisor? Those are some things that you could do. Granted, it's hard to do some of those things spontaneously, but if you're going to be out for a few days, you can probably get an appointment and get some of that stuff taken care of. Finances are important. Always your bookkeeping is important. Do you need to work on your marketing materials, your brochures for the business? Do you need a little fresh up? Do you have enough business cards? One of my pet peeves is how many times I talk to wildlife control operators, ask them for a card. And they're looking at themselves and they're pulling out, I don't have them with me. And like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's not professional. Carry a business card, for crying out loud. They're not that heavy. Do you have them in your truck? When was the last time you looked at your literature? Is it still up to snuff? How about improving your knowledge of your industry? Do you have books that's going to talk about the technical side of your work? With pest control, you're often required to go to continuing education to maintain your pesticide license. Some of those trainings are better than others. Have you looked over your notes? You're taking notes, right? Or are you just sitting there like a bump on a log, just hoping you get through the 50 minutes so you can quote unquote go out and make money? I take notes at almost all the trainings I go to. I think I've got... here we go. Here's one of them. Not very pretty. I used, in this case, a moleskin. And I got all these notes. I keep a table of contents. And basically, I have it organized. I'll have, feral hogs, geese, vehicle, disease, bats, remote trap monitors, rodenticides, mountain lions, rats, E. coli, wolves, pesticide calibration, media training. Do you remember when you took your training for your pest control? Well, you have a better chance of remembering if you had a notebook. Review it. Do you have a reading list for when you have downtime? Do you have any articles that you're interested in reading? You say, "Well, Stephen, I don't know what I'm supposed to read." Look, go visit my website, wildlifecontrolconsultant.com. I have reviews of various videos and books. If you go on to my academia.edu website, that's just think of it as academia, ACADMIA. Just say Stephen Van Tassel, Academia. You go to my page there. I think I have somewhere around 65 different review articles on there. All kinds of videos and books on various things dealing with trapping. A lot of it's fur trapping material, but the fact is that there's some interesting stuff in there that's going to help you with your wildlife control work too. Especially if you're looking to get into some predator work. You want to learn more about lures. You want to learn how about dealing with beaver. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. So you can find some ideas and things that, some videos that you should have been watching. Perhaps if you don't want to be buying anything, you could start developing a YouTube watch list. Go on YouTube, start doing a search for some skills, some techniques, and just put in some keywords and look around. You may not be able to view it at that particular moment, but you can store it, save that particular spot, and then go back and look into it. Find the method that you are looking to do. And the beauty with videos, I'm not always a big fan of videos because I often can read a little bit faster than sometimes some of these videos go. Some of the videos are not very good quality at times, but there's still good stuff out there. But one thing you can do even with the videos with YouTube is you can speed them up. You can watch them at 1.25, and now you're saving yourself 15 seconds on a minute. So an hour-long video is now going to be watched in 45 minutes. That's a lot. And if, depending how slow the person talks, you can maybe pump it up to 1.5 speed. Or you can scrub through it to find the spot that you're interested in. All these types of techniques can help you save time. The question ultimately is, are you prepared for your downtime? Because it's not a question of if it's going to happen. It's a question of when it's going to happen. And that can be something as much as a weather incident, injury, sickness, a vehicle accident where equipment is broken. Maybe the infrastructure has been damaged because the power's out. A family member may be ill. Sometimes it's not always about you. You are all prepped up for a job. You're going to hit it hard, and the person you're going to be working with, he gets into a car accident. Now you can't do anything. What are you going to do? Time is money. Time is moving. Time is moving along. What are you going to do? So I hope this has given you some ideas and food for thought, because you want to take the time to get that list out, use a note-taking program, have it with you all the time, and just make sure that when you encounter those downtimes, you're able to take advantage of it. Now, let me give you one final tip. A lot of times we are waiting for things to happen, whether you're waiting for your oil to be changed, whether you're waiting for the doctor to let you into the office, or the dentist, or you're waiting to get your hair cut. Make it a habit of finding things to occupy your time to help improve yourself. Don't just always be on social media complaining about the Democrats or the Republicans or something else. Think about what you're doing to improve yourself and improve your business. Because that is going to give you a lot more bang for your time over time. Because a lot of times it's these little micro moments that create a habit, and over time, these little micro changes can have a huge impact on your future. I'm Stephen Van Tassel, Wildlife Control Consultant, talking today about making the most of your downtime. Because I want you to live the wildlife, not be the wildlife. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody.